introduce my new guest. Ma'am, if you can let everybody know who you are, please.
I'm the president. No, I'm just kidding. So my name is Yvette Johnson. Who am I? Entrepreneur. Most definitely try to be a motivation to everyone who's lost a loved one, and just coming into my own with dealing with losses and spreading my wings, trying to spread the joy around the world.
Absolutely, and I love that, Miss Johnson. So it's one of those things that we say on the show, and we always end it with lead with love in everything that you do.
Indeed.
And it's one of those things that I've known you, back in the day we used to work together, and I can definitely say that we've probably both matured and evolved and just maybe, just grew into who we are and what we're doing today.
Right.
And I just want to say thank you, first of all, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to have you on. So many people know you. You just have that recognizable face, right?
Yeah.
And it was a small world because, I met Nancy and Garland, and we were talking one day, and she's like, "How do you know her?" And I'm like, we do this and that, woo, woo, woo. And she's like, "What's woo, woo, woo?" You know what I'm saying? And so,
what does that mean?
Right. Well, hold on. Wait a minute, right? And so, it's just one of those things that I see you're doing a lot of things. You got your, did you recently get a home?
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful home, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm gonna need a tour of that house one day.
Come over anytime.
Yes, of the east wing and the west wing. I'm very happy for you.
Anytime. Thank you.
Please tell us about the vet collection. Where did the name come from, and what inspired you to come up with that?
So Vet Lee Collection, it comes from my middle name and my mother's middle name put together. It inspired me to have something in remembrance of her and my dad because they passed 45 days apart. So I wanted to do something in remembrance of them. They love fashion. That's where I got my fashion sense from.
Yes.
So I want to keep their name going. And so I came up with the idea of putting Vet and Lee together, which actually my wife said, "Why don't you do Vet Lee?" Right. And then, most people was like, "It kind of sounds like a Chinese name." I'm like, Bentley does too, but everybody want one.
Exactly. I like
so
that.
That's where that came from, me and my mother's middle name.
Nice.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to your mother and father. And do you have her a picture? Is that a picture of her around your necklace?
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. So, you have this brand, and what do you want that brand to represent?
Forgiveness.
Okay.
Having faith. That's why I came up with the idea of having a brand underneath Vet Lee as Faith Plus Mercy, because I believe that if it wasn't for the faith that I had in God and in His forever mercy, that I wouldn't be able to still be able to walk in my truth and still hold my head up high. Right. Even with losing both my parents, you need to go talk to a counselor.
Right.
You need to talk to a psychiatrist. This is like a trauma that you've been through, and they want to take me off work 6-8 weeks, and I'm like, nah. So I just think, with His faith plus His mercy is what got me through it all. And still going through it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one thing, it seems like everyone seems to have an answer for how we feel.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people who are put their 2 cents in have never lost a mother or a father. So It's been about 13 years now. I lost my father. He died of liver cancer. And it was a weird situation. I've shared this in the past, but my father left me and my brothers and sisters when I was 10, got into drugs really bad and took off, and then we reunited with him, maybe 15 years later as adults, found out that he had liver cancer, and then, we got to spend some time with him. He was living up in Minnesota at the time, and then within 6 months, he's gone, just like that. He was about 52 years old, and it was one of those things that I remember him. I'm the oldest, so I remember him dearly as a kid growing up,
right.
and then those memories never go away.
No.
And then when you actually lose your parent, it seems like a part of you goes away. It's
your heart beats different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And have you ever felt this? For me, I go through my life. It's busy. I got my kids that I'm raising and working and trying to do all the goals that I want to in life. But I'll be driving, and it'll just hit me where I'll just start crying. And it's that, what I always say when I cry, I feel like that's the Holy Spirit coming into me.
Right.
And it's that feeling that just, reminds me of Him. And it comes in different times, and it's weird how
when it comes out of nowhere.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah, I was just telling somebody how the other day I was driving down the street, and I looked back, And I feel like my mom, because when I would drive them, my dad would be in the front and my mom would always be in the back. And I just felt like they was in the car. It was the weirdest thing, but I know they're not in the car.
Right.
But it just like their presence was there with me, and we're just riding, going to the doctor, going
Right.
to the store. Me and my daddy cracking jokes on my mama. She get mad saying we double teaming on her. So it was just one of those moments. And I talk about how, people say, they go to heaven or, wherever they go, but
Right.
their presence is still with you. I don't know if it's on a daily, but there's times where it's like a smell, like the perfume that my dad or my mom used to wear, cologne, or I can see a car because he was into cars. And then when I see a horse, he used to buggy race horses. It's like letting me know I'm still there.
Exactly.
Blue flies by. I was like, why is this blue paper flying by?
Right.
My mom's favorite color is blue.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm still letting you know I'm here,
Right.
You have
to
the same
remind
thing,
you.
right, with the red?
Yeah, so I believe big in the red cardinals. Like I don't see them ever, but when I see one, I think of my dad, and it's the same thing every time. I'll see one, like, let's say every 3 months, but when I see one, it flies right in front of my windshield as if
I
I'm
want
going
you to see
hit
me.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there he is.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I talk, so I'm like, hey Dad, how you doing?
Yep, I do that too.
and for me, it's like I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm alive. I'm doing my thing. Thank you for looking over me. And it's one of those things that it just gives me peace.
It does.
It's something that just makes me feel that it's that reminder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things this year that a lot of people lost their parents. They lost their grandparents to COVID. And, it's one of those things that a lot of people. I don't think we speak enough of it in the minorities in the fact of dealing with mental health. And I think especially
because you can go into a mental health state. I mean,
Absolutely.
It's a dark cloud on you. You don't even realize it's over you until
Right.
somebody bring it to your attention. Because
Right.
I was so deep into a black hole, I didn't even realize it. I'm thinking I'm
Absolutely.
fine because I'm going to work. I'm doing
Right.
everything normally.
Staying busy.
But I really wasn't physically there. Just my shell was
Right.
there. Yeah.
And like you said, everyone around you saying you're different.
Yeah.
You're not the same. You ain't laughing like you used to.
You know what my wife said?
What she say?
She said, you died when your mama died.
Mm.
And I was like, huh? Because, it just caught me like, what do you mean? I don't feel I'm acting any different. She was like, yeah, you died when your
Yeah.
mama died. And I was just like, wow.
Right.
And that's just how I felt. Like, whatever happens, happens. If I feel like talking today, I feel
Right.
like, it just wasn't my personality, my
Right.
character. So
And
it was something.
one thing that happened to me I had COVID. I think it was about August. I remember going through there, sick. I went through the progression of high fevers and everything like that. And then I woke up one day, and then I when I woke up, I went to take a deep breath to yawn, and that deep breath wasn't there no more. So it was a half breath. Anxiety kicked in immediately.
Yeah, panic.
You're panicking. You start praying. I was texting everybody I love them, and I was afraid to go to sleep that night.
Yeah.
I was afraid because I felt like if I go to sleep, I may not wake up that next morning. So it's one of those things that once I got through it lasted about 7-8 days. To me, it was mild. Went through it, all the symptoms of it,
Yeah.
and got out of it, thank God. But it was one of those things that it humbled me to 1,000. It was one of those things that
You look at things different.
I stopped caring about credit, stopped caring about people who didn't like me. I didn't care about. I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I came out of it like, I gotta keep doing my radio thing. I gotta keep doing my things
Your
with my
purpose.
kids, my purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, we're all here to serve.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like that's why he didn't take me, because he could have took me like anybody else.
Yeah.
And I see it as he has me here for a reason, and I think
Yeah.
more people need to look at it that way.
He's
That
not done with you yet.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that, when you lead with love and you go out there and just reach so many people, I always say that character's who you are when no one's watching. And it's,
Yes.
I see, I'll share something with you. So some people on social media, they'll say, when you do nice things, you don't need to post them on this and that. But I see the opposite. I see it. My mentality is,
It's an opportunity for someone to know that there's someone out there that can help them.
not only that, sometimes when I see other people doing good, it ignites in a reminder that, you know what was the last time I gave to somebody?
Right.
And
right.
not wanting nothing back. When was the
Mhm.
last time I did a good deed? And that's what it does for me, is that, this world is full of distractions all around us, every minute
every
of
day.
the day. So it's one of those things for me that, when we put together this turkey drop, we did this turkeys. We were raising them up, and then I think we got like big old truckload of them. We gave them to the pantry, the food pantry, and after that, we went about our business. We think nothing of it, and then it hit us like 2 days of Thanksgiving. Someone said something about what'd I do with those turkeys, and I'm like, the first thing that came about was like, wow, so many people got to have a Thanksgiving just from the small service that we did by bringing do that to us. Because for me, I'm doing everything that was done for me. These holidays remind me so much, and I said on all these recent shows, is that I had churches that my mom signed us up to for us to get these free toys. I had some folks come knock in our apartment who I thought...
So you understand how it feels.
Absolutely. I was in these recreational centers lining up to get these free lunches. I was here and here and here, and I'm like, you know what? He instilled that into me in a young age, so as an adult, I can give back and to these young kids and parents who just were in the same situation that I've been.
Right.
And it's one of those things that I think, you know... we bicker about little things because she gets upset about certain things. I'm like, let it go.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, and it's
not that serious.
It's not, and it's one of those things. It's not her fault, but it's just she wants to just respond, right?
Right.
And it's one of those things that the older I'm getting, your mentality changes. You want to surround yourself. I do, as a matter of fact, with positive people, with good energy, and people who want to look out for me. And the older I'm getting, I'll meet people. Let's just say like Tony here, who will give me the shirt off his back, and I just met the man.
Exactly.
Compared to friends that I say I've known for years, and I can't get them to reply to a text.
Yeah,
right.
They doubt you.
And who's saying, you know, that radio thing ain't gonna last. Yeah. You ain't gonna do nothing with it.
And you know, I call those people dream stealers.
Wow.
And you know, we can have dream stealers in our family. They come in mother form, father form, cousin form, brother, sister.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because those are the first people that tell us that we can't do it because they felt they couldn't do it.
And it's weird because I love my mother to death. She's my best friend. And I probably know she probably won't remember this. But when I graduated high school, I wanted to go to a broadcasting school. It was off Six Flags Drive. It was the only one here in Arlington. And I said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go to broadcasting school. I want to be in radio. She looked at me and said, boy, that don't pay nothing.
Yeah.
What? Radio? Right.
Yeah. She's looking out for you, so she feels. But she's blocking what you want to do. What you know, she has in her mind what she wants you to do.
Exactly. and it's one of those things that it's our responsibility now as parents to break that cycle. You know, when my son comes to me, want to be a YouTuber, son, keep putting them YouTubers on there. Yeah. You never know. You may be that one kid that makes all this money for the family.
The richest guy that's ever paid from YouTube is 5 years old. He made $20 million last year.
What is that kid's name? I don't know.
So when you sit here and tell me that you don't want your kids to be a YouTuber,
right?
And he's making $20 million at what, 5 or 6 years old a year. This is not him being 20 years old. He made $1 million each year.
Right.
He's making that now.
Right.
So just imagine where he's going to be at 10 years old, 11. You know, but in our culture, we can't see beyond what we've never did.
And I agree with you.
Or know somebody who's done it.
And the problem is that we feel that we need to be able to physically touch it or hold it in order to believe it. Yeah. We don't practice enough manifestation, and we don't speak things into existence. And one thing that I posted on Facebook is we don't practice self-affirmation. No. And these are things that are not taught to us growing up. No. I'm 40 years old, and I'm barely in my 30s is when I got introduced to this because of total strangers that I met on social media who said, practice this.
Yes.
You know, they said, because, I reached out to them saying, I don't feel like doing that because I'm feeling down right now.
Right.
And then they're telling me, do you know how blessed you are? And I said, no, I don't. Read these things. Do it for 30 days. And it changes your life. Yeah. Absolutely. It becomes a habit. So, you're also a part of a group that's called Grieving Souls. Does that come from your parents as well?
Yeah, I created that group. I started out calling it Grieving Daughters because I'm a daughter and my sister's a daughter. And then at that time, when my mom passed, a lot of my friends' mothers passed as well. It was just like a domino effect of friends that I've known over the years and friends I've met on Facebook and things like that. So then it turned around where on Mother's Day, my first Mother's Day without having my mom, my good friend and barber at the time got killed on Mother's Day. So I wake up to them telling me that she's gone, and I can't even grieve for not being able to share Mother's Day with my mom. So it's like, maybe I need to change the name to Grieving Souls because your soul is with you forever.
Right.
And you you grieve forever. It doesn't go away.
It does not.
I don't know why people think, oh, I'll be okay in 6 months. No, that pain is forever there, and it will remind you.
There's no
when
timeline.
you think it's no timeline.
The pain doesn't go away
at all.
Right.
At all.
Exactly.
So I came up with the group Grieving Souls, and the reason why I came up with the Grieving Souls, the group is where people like me who's going through losses can come in there and vent, and people are going to understand what you're going through. They're going to understand your pain. Because I realized when my mom passed, talking to someone who still had their mother didn't understand why I was still crying.
Exactly.
Or hadn't lost someone that close to them to make them understand that this pain, I am broken.
Exactly.
And I'm truly broken. So I created that group where people can go in and you can tell me, hey, today I'm missing my mama. I understand that.
Yeah.
But to somebody who just got the phone with their mom and is like, ugh, she getting on my nerves, she keep calling because she want me to pick up this pecan pie and I haven't been to the store yet or it's crowded,
Right.
I feel like, you're not going to understand when I say I miss my mom. Just like Christmas Day is my father's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I have a constant reminder around this time of the year is when my mom got sick, and it's just a domino effect. So it happens and it keeps happening. It's like you can never truly get rid of it.
And Christmas ain't going nowhere.
Christmas not going nowhere.
Right.
And people are like, oh, Christmas coming up, and I'm like, yeah, it's just another day.
Right.
Because now I got to deal with not being able to celebrate my father's birthday, which is something I had done for so long. So that's when I came up with the Grieving Souls, and then I came up with the idea of having the Grieving Souls podcast to tell my story so that people can understand and see that, hey, she's going through exactly what I went through. She had those same kind of thoughts. I was pissed off when my mama passed.
Right.
Because some of my friends still had their mother.
Why me?
And why me? She just died all of a sudden.
Right.
Never been sick, and it's like you guys out here who have parents or your mother's still around and is doing everything for you, you're taking them for granted. Somebody one day was mad at their mama because they wanted them to look something up on the computer, and I was like, dang, I wish I had my mama to walk in here and ask me, could I look something up on the computer for her? It's just the smallest thing. You don't think about it when you have your own mom, but when that's taken away, so it's like this. You can replace anything. You buy a pair of jeans, they rip, you can take them back. You wreck your car, you can get another car. You drop your phone, you crack the screen, you can go get that fixed or get it replaced. The one thing in this world that you cannot replace is your mother. And you cannot replace your father. Yeah, you can get a stepmama, you can get a mother-in-law, you can get a stepdad, you can get a father-in-law, but it still is not your mother.
Right.
And it's like the number one people, my number one fans who gave me my why is no longer here. And I see so many people just
take it for granted.
Take it for granted.
Right.
Take it for granted. It's like my mama had me when she was 41. She died when I was 43. And then I was born on her birthday. I have the exact same name as her. So it never goes away. I'm a constant reminder of that,
Right.
And it's just like, I can't even really celebrate my birthday because if I look at her obituary, that's my birthday too.
Right.
It's just like constant reminders, the little things that people take for granted with having their parents still around.
Let me also ask you, Vid, have you struggled with any personal problems in your life? Have you had to overcome any obstacles or anything like that?
I think trusting people.
Yeah.
Opening up like I open up now.
Right.
At first it's something, I told the story of how my parents passed, but I do it with a smile. Mm-hmm. And my soul is well. I'm not one of those kids who tried to pull them out the casket because I didn't do and give them their flowers while they were here. But I just think trusting people, sometimes you have to, let me find some more information out about you before, because at first, I was just naive to a lot of things, and I just think that's from my parents being much older, and not telling me certain things.
Right.
So I had to, when I hit the streets, I had to fall on my face a couple of times and had to realize you can't trust everybody who smile in your face. And everybody is not your friend, even though you're being a good friend to them.
Right.
My mom had to tell me that one day. Nobody is obligated to you.
They're not. You're right.
Just because you're being nice and you're doing this for them, they are not obligated to you to do anything for you. And I had to find that out the hard way. So I think my personal was just trusting people with my heart, for sure.
And one thing that you touched on, and I don't think we say this enough in society, is one word, and that word is broken.
Broken.
So many people in this world are broken for
whatever
different
reasons. Yeah.
Right. Whatever it may be. But one, we don't say the word enough, and two, they always say, you never know what that person is either going through or has gone through.
Exactly.
So when you see somebody snap,
you don't know what happened. You think, oh, they crazy.
Right.
That's the first thing we say. Oh, they crazy, but you have no idea what they done lost their job.
Right.
They're homeless because they say everybody is one paycheck away from being homeless. So you have no idea what all they went through to make them snap and flip out, take their own life or take somebody else's life. You don't know that. You don't know people's testimony. You don't know their shoes. Where they been, what happened to them as a child. It's a lot of adult kids out here that's still stuck at 15 and 16 when that trauma happened to them, and now they're adults,
right? And
they don't know how to deal with it.
Absolutely. And what advice would you give to somebody, who wants to let that go, don't know how to let that go?
I think they should get with someone that they can talk to. Yeah. In our culture, if you go to a psychiatrist or a counselor or a therapist, you crazy. No, you're not. That's the best thing. If a lot of people hold things in and then they lash out and then they're called crazy. But if you find someone that you can talk to and you can trust and you know that what you're telling them is not going to go any further, I think you most definitely should talk to somebody. If you don't want to talk to somebody, get a notebook. Start writing down your feelings and how you feel right then and there. Carry with you everywhere. If you pissed off right there and somebody says something to you, you need to let them know, hey, that hurt my feelings and I don't appreciate it. Right. A lot of times we'll shy off because of what stamina or level that person is in. And a lot of people are not confrontation. Right. But it's okay to tell somebody they hurt your feelings. Yeah. And tell them why they hurt your feelings. Because they don't know if nobody's never said, hey, every time you say that to me, that hurts my feelings. Right. But if nobody's never let them know that, how will they know?
Exactly. I was talking about that earlier with her, how back in the day I had no filter. And it took me, probably hurt a lot of people, and probably for somebody probably to say,
verbal abuser.
Right, absolutely.
And I found out that I was a verbal abuser because I was verbal abused growing up in my household. Things that my mom said to me and things that I heard her say to me, and I realized one day, oh my God, I'm a verbal abuser just like my mom. Even though she didn't mean anything by it. She never knew until I said, Mama, the things that you say to me hurt my feelings. The things I've woke up in the middle of the morning and heard you on the phone talking to somebody saying things about me, that hurt my feelings until I told her, because she didn't think I remembered. Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember. Right. And those words stayed there. See, with a bruise, you can put a Band-Aid on, you put some witch hazel on it. But them words are embedded in your head, and they stay with you forever. Even as a kid, you know how sometimes you'll snap off at a kid, and you don't think they worried about it. Oh, it's stuck there. Yeah. That word is stuck there. I don't care. You can whoop me, and I'll forget about that whooping, but that good one, those words are stuck there. And so I realized I was becoming a verbal abuser.
Absolutely. I was same with you right there and then. Yeah. And you become a product of your environment.
Yes.
And then not only that, you start telling yourself, well, I'm not a physical abuser, so it's not so bad.
Oh, it's worse.
You see what I'm saying?
It's worse.
But you see how I just told myself, it's not so bad. I ain't hitting them. No, might as well be.
You might as well be.
Right. So it's one of those things that you got to acknowledge it. You got to get help.
You got to get help.
There's nothing wrong with getting help. And it's one of those things that, again, we need to educate each other and help each other out. It's one of those things that, one person that I refer to all the time is Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams.
Yes.
And he was one of those
Nobody
people.
would have never thought.
Right. This man was the happiest man on earth, made everybody laugh. Yeah. And then the guy takes his own life.
He was dying inside.
He was dying, right. He was covering up with jokes.
Yeah.
And,
that's what he was doing.
And it's one of those things that he has some great quotes, but it's one of those things that, he needed help. And no one saw. Everyone was blind. Yeah. So probably his own family members and kids.
You know how many times we see signs and we don't know that person is giving us a sign? Right. We just overlook it. Oh, they'll be all right. Right. Oh, let me go buy you some tennis shoes. No, I keep acting out for a reason.
Right. There's I was on Google. There's this young little girl. She won the America's Got Talent show. Cutest little girl. And then she's older now. She's about 16. And they show a picture of her, and she's completely bald, like she shaved her head. Mm-hmm. And then it's like somebody should go out to reach that girl and say, "Are you okay? Is
Right.
everything okay?" Like,
what is going
right,
on?
all of a sudden you just shaving your head off. Like, you see what happened with Britney
Yeah.
Spears when she went through that whole fiasco.
Right.
She was really fighting some demons while
was fighting demons,
you know,
yeah.
going
And
crazy.
then like I get all the time with me losing my locks. You know, a lot of people ask me, "Oh, you cut off your hair because you a stud?" No, I've been tomboyish all my life.
Right.
Let's be clear.
Right.
You understand? So when I came into my aura, I never was disrespectful at all to my parents with the lifestyle that I have. I'm very respectful. So people don't know that I have thyroid cancer. And that's why I don't have hair. I didn't cut it off to be boyish or look like a boy or try to look like a man. I cut it off because it was coming out on my pillow. When I walk down the hallway, my locks are laying on the ground. You know, but people don't try to find out what happened.
Or
they
even
do
ask,
their
"Is
own
everything
assumptions.
okay?" Right.
They do their own assumptions. Everybody, she cut her hair off because she's that lesbian and she
Right.
wants to be bald
And
headed
there
and
she
like
go
a
trying to
dude.
get attention.
There she go trying to get attention. I wasn't trying to get attention. I'm trying to live.
Thank you.
You know how many pills I have to take
Right.
just on a daily basis just to walk?
Exactly.
So no, I'm not trying to get attention. I ain't got no more hair.
Right. And then those main people talking about, "I miss you. I'm praying for you. You know, my best friend wants you gone."
Yeah,
after
what you
certain-"
praying for? You don't even know what's going on.
Nothing.
You
I'm
praying for me
feeling-
to get my hair back?
Right, exactly. So it's one of those things. You're absolutely right, and I'm glad that you're speaking on it because people need to hear the truth.
The truth. That's all I can
That's
be.
what it
I'm
is.
walking in my truth.
That's right.
That's all I can be. I am not my hair.
I like that. I like that. So you know what? We're here. We're talking with her in regards to Vet Lee collection, as well as what was the souls?
Grieving soul.
Grieving souls. Thank
Yeah.
you. And you know, she's kind of just letting us know who she is, what she's doing, and how so many people are affected by loss at the end of the day. And as long as we have faith and mercy, we're able to overcome it, because there's so many people in this world that as soon as they lose a parent, they break down, and that's it. And they
They lose
look
everything.
to get into drugs, get into alcohol, get into killing other people and hurting other
Yeah.
people. You know, and it's one of those things that definitely, you know, we're touching on the subject. So we're going to take a quick break with Ya Tu Sabes. Just remember, guys, if you're just now tuning in, shout out to Sunny Zapata. How are you doing? Shout out to Jimmy and Sabes Radio. I'm here with Fancy Nancy. I'm here with Miss Yvette Johnson. How you doing, Miss Johnson?
I'm great.
Miss Fancy Nancy, what's going on over there?
Nothing.
Boy, I tell you, can't have nothing nice over here. You still
Thumbs
gotta,
up.
You still got to wrap presents tonight, Nancy?
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah, I need
Tomorrow? You gonna do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas Eve. They supposed to be open. We might as well just leave them in the Target sack that they in. So, Ms. Johnson, let me ask you. You know, you're into a lot of different things. You know, what is your goal with the clothing line and everything like that?
So, with the clothing line, just hopefully, I like to eventually get to a spot where I can start making like large donations to, you know, children who, you know, are in homes, you know, in foster care. You know, they may be with their parents, but their parents can afford to get certain things that, you know, they like. You know, I had both parents growing up, so I always was able to get the Nikes, the Jordans. You
Right.
know, I'm a sneakerhead, and I'm still a
Exactly.
sneakerhead.
Yes.
So, you know, sometimes just a nice pair of shoes so that, you know, they won't be laughed at when they do start going back to school and things like that. So on my vetleecollection.com page, you can go on and there's a spot where you can just donate $10.
Nice.
And that $10 can go towards, you know, buying toothpaste, toothbrushes, you know, socks,
Toiletries, you name it.
gloves, hats,
Yes.
you know, earmuffs, things like that. You know, I can get things in bulk like T-shirts and sweaters. You know, for people who sleeping out on the street can stay warm. We can go buy blankets and things like that. So that's my ultimate goal, to eventually be able to, you know, buy one, give one. Yeah.
I love that. And so, what is the website if they do want to donate? Because obviously, we're cold tonight, but this really is nothing to compare to what's probably
If you
coming
gotta stay
up.
out there
Exactly.
all day, all night.
Right.
Like we go from the car to a building and we in the heat.
Right.
They don't have that, you know. So I know when a few months back we went and did sandwiches through with the roux, and you know they wanted the tarps. You know, the tarps, you know, that keeps them, you know, dry for when it rains.
Right.
You think about it, they sleeping outside and they don't have an umbrella. So
It's like
the
being at the
tarps-
lake.
Yeah, and it'll keep the wind, you know, and things like that. Being able to buy, you know, some thick enough, you know, comforters and things like that. So that's what I hope to be able to do, you know, where I can get to that state.
And you said if they want to donate, what's the website that they can go to?
VettleeCollection.com.
And that's VettleE collection.com.
Yes.
And guys, right now is the time to be, to donate. Like I said, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
And I could not imagine having to
sleep out there.
Right. Yeah. Just 24 hours is, it's crazy.
It's brutal.
So, let's make sure that we take care of the homeless, because like she made a comment earlier, it's so true.
Even their pets. I can buy dog food for their pets, and we can break up the...
And we always see those pets, like over on Centerville, they're just sitting right there with that one lady right there in the front.
Yeah. What you know about Centerville?
Hey!
You know nothing.
Hey!
Until you met me.
I've been there a few times now.
Gotta love Centerville, right?
For real.
Right?
That traffic.
La Prada,
Yeah. All that. Yeah. So it's one of those things, guys, that this is the time to be giving. It's always, like I always say, it's better to give than to receive. And it can go so far. $10 can buy socks, can buy a blanket, can buy several items. Toiletries and toothpaste and toothbrushes and all those things.
They
as
need
well.
all those type of things out there.
Absolutely. Do you have any shout outs tonight?
Most definitely, I'd like to give a shout out to my big sis, Beverly Clarwell. She came up today to give me my Christmas gift. She stays in Tyler. Nice. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife for staying in my corner, not keeping me, not just throwing me away because I'm always got an attitude or going through my moments or whatever. And then shout out to my cousin Cheryl and Karen, who check on me every now and then. They still think I'm cool and hang out with me. My cousin Michelle.
Yes.
So and then my friend, my BFs, that call me and make sure that I'm not hanging from a ceiling fan or something. Right. But yeah, most definitely.
So one thing I can say about you is you always have a good attitude since I've known you. You always dress fly as hell.
Oh yeah, every time I see you,
just fresh,
like, okay.
Fresh as death. So when it's one of those things like they say, if you look good and you feel good, and you dress good, you good. You know what I'm saying? So you give off such a good aura. I was really excited to have you on the show.
Excited to be here.
Definitely missed you, and I'm glad that you are leaving. You're living the life that you want to live.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that we cannot stress enough, especially with the pandemic that's going on right now. Live your life to the fullest. Be you. Live your life. One thing that I've learned, is that I stopped having expectations with people. And that's one thing.
That's a whole nother topic.
It is, and it's something I'm still learning, because I had just a lot of failed relationships because I go into a relationship expecting something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't expect that from my kid. I wouldn't expect my son to, if he don't love me, I'm expecting him to do something. Like, no, we gotta retrain ourselves
and stop allowing people to put you in your expectations.
Right.
That's one thing we do make a mistake. We'll put our own self in expectations because we feel, okay, I did this, so they should do it for me. But then we'll allow people to lie to us and say, oh, I'm going to come through for you, or I'm going to do this for you, or I got you, when you already know their character don't really got me. And then you pissed off, mad, and having an attitude with everybody because this one person didn't come through for you.
Exactly.
And it's like you let them put you in their expectations.
Right.
I learned about that some years ago with an old ex of mine who said, let's talk about expectations.
Yeah.
And I really didn't realize that I was expecting her to do something because I did it for her. And she was like, no, you putting yourself in expectations. And I said, well, let's talk about you making me be in my expectations, because sometimes you come through and sometimes you don't. So don't tittle tattle with me, and I don't have to think that you're gonna come through all the time. Show me who you are up front. They say, well, you should date somebody a year and then you really find out who they are. No, people be married 20 and 30 years and still don't know who they sleeping next to. So
thought they had
wait for the people in the back.
Right.
Yes. So
and it's one of those things that I learned the hard way, and this was what happened with me. I'm a giver. All my life I've been a giver. So what happened with me was I was so busy giving to my kids, to a relationship that I was in, to family, to friends, that when I seeked help, this is how they broke it down to me. They said, Jose, what you've been doing this whole time is you've been driving this car, helping people along the way. What happened was there's a gas station right here to the right of you, and you're about to run out of gas, but what you do is you ignore that gas station, you keep going.
Refuel.
And then what happens, you now at the point that where you at in your life is that your body and everything about you is shut down. And so because of that, can you give to anybody else now? And the answer is no. So they told me, if you do not refuel yourself, if you do not pull over and make sure you take care of yourself, how can you continue to help others?
Right.
And, one thing that I've learned, and people need to understand this, it's okay to tell somebody no.
No. Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, it is.
And that took me a long time to understand because I
You don't
felt
want to hurt people's
bad.
feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't
I
want
want
to
to
hurt
be the
people's
good guy.
feelings. Yeah.
And as much as I was saying, I got you. Oh, and I'm one of those people
But
that...
see, people take advantage of that.
Yeah, because if you tell me to be somewhere at 8:30, I'm going to be there 8:15.
Yeah.
That's just me. But they're so used to other people just doing them wrong, whatever it may be, that they just take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And so, or they depend on you and they start being a leech and they're just like sucking you dry.
And you don't even realize they're sucking you dry.
Until
you dry.
and lost everything.
Yeah. You
along
lost
the
everything.
way. And it's one of those things that, I see all these people on Facebook, fighting over relationships and this and that. And I wish I could just kind of shake them and be like, this is my life experiences. I don't want you to go through what I went through. And if you keep going the route that you're going through, this is how it's going to end.
It is.
But what happens is that people, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say that something isn't working out for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be honest. It's okay to move on. It's okay to be friends. It's okay to do whatever, because, people come and go in your life.
They do.
And whether it's just a relationship or whether it's, people.
It's time to turn the page.
It is. and what happens is that God puts people in your route all the time. Mr. Gary right here, we laugh about it, but I met his now fiance through somebody that I mutually met, brought her on the radio station. They met, they clicked, and all of a sudden it just works.
Yeah.
And he had if I would have never met this person, brought him on the show,
right,
he would have never met her. Period. Right. She was living her own world somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And so that's what how this world works. It's crazy how this world works, and how God will put the right people in it, and He'll also take away the wrong people. So it's one of those things that
You're always on time.
Right. Right. And when one door closes, the other one's open.
The one you didn't even knock on.
And I'm a testimony to that this year. So it's one of those things that, I want to thank you for coming on. I think you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think you enlightened a lot of people. I'm one of those people that I could talk to you forever because I've had my own life experiences, and it's one of those things that I have my own testimony, and I would love to share that with you one day.
Of course.
And it's one of those things that
you can be a guest on my podcast.
Please invite me. I'll definitely be on there because it's one of those things that people need to know that they're not alone.
Exactly.
Goes back to what you were saying. Back to why you have this podcast. Why you have the grieving souls. Everything because. People, I'm telling you, you're not alone. And I have to remind myself when I'm one paycheck away from losing this and that. I'm like, you know what? What am I afraid of? I'm not alone.
Step out on faith.
This is and just let go and let God.
Yes.
But too many people, they forget where to go. They forget.
And society makes us think that we should be an employee for the rest of our lives too.
And that's not the case. Again, I love
college is not for everybody.
It's not. Right.
And you just read more books and got more certificates.
That's it.
But we sitting at the same job.
Right. and me and you, we live that where people let sometimes those titles go to their heads.
Many titles. Yeah.
But I'm like, we making the same amount of money, but you working harder and I'm working smarter, and I get to go home at 5 and you still up here stressing over 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm with my kids, my family. You ain't even seeing them.
Yeah. You still looking at numbers.
Right. trying to figure out how you can make them work.
So strong.
Right. And then ain't gonna change. They didn't pay yesterday. They ain't gonna pay today. And they ain't gonna pay tomorrow.
Right.
That's just the way it is. So
they ain't got it.
It's crazy. But you know what? Life is nothing but experiences. It's something that we all gonna go through. And one thing that's guaranteed in this life is death.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
You can't run from it.
Right. So it's one of those things. Right. So it's one of those things that we got to go. The answers are in the Bible. And I love this acronym that I heard for Bible. It's basic instructions before leaving Earth. Mm-hmm. It's all right there.
Yeah, but they don't teach that. In I guess it's kiddie school.
They don't.
When you're young, you go to Sunday school,
right.
But it's kiddie. But you in there coloring, culling the lambs and
Right.
the woe of Jesus,
Right.
but they not teaching you that. When I was little, I stopped trying to learn because I was like, he coming back any day now. So what am I learning for?
Right.
Why do I have to learn my multiplications when he coming back? That's all I kept saying for the longest, and they had to talk to my mom. Was like, hey, your daughter's like in the 6th grade, but almost on a 4th, 5th grade level. What's going on? I'm like, Mom, what am I learning for when he is coming back? He coming back in fire. Is that what y'all teaching us?
Exactly.
So why am I having to go through all this? Why am I even going to school?
Don't even matter.
What's the point?
Right. If he's gonna come.
If he's coming back,
Right.
he coming back like he said he would. Like, why am I learning?
Exactly.
So as you get older, you understand and you have your own relationship with God and you learn from Him for yourself. But as a kid, I was like, he coming back, so ain't no point in me learning these multiplications.
This ain't gonna do nothing for me.
Why do I have perfect attendance for 6 years? Like
the only certificate I get.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this about? Like,
I'm tired of seeing this red ribbon every year.
Every year, perfect attendance.
It's crazy. So, Miss Fancy Nancy, do you have any last words for us? Any last minute shout outs? Anything like that?
Again, I just want to give a shout out to my nephew Jesus, who's turning 1 tomorrow. Baby cakes, I love you so much.
Yes, and
shout out to my Brianna. She's asleep, my baby.
Yes. What about you, Miss Johnson? Do you have any shout outs?
To my 4 daughters.
Yes.
They my stepdaughters, but they mine.
Yes.
Our last daughter, when I met her mom, she was 2 and she's 16 now.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
yeah, I'm mom.
I feel you. Yeah.
Shout out to my daughters.
Yay,
yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to leave the show by saying, happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry Christmas to
Happy
everybody.
Hanukkah.
And
Kwanzaa.
everything. So it's one of those things that, be happy. Every day that we get to wake up is a good day. Those trials and tribulations, they ain't going nowhere. It's just how you handle them and how you overcome them. And if you have faith and you have mercy, everything's going to be all right.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Mercy.
So, yes. So, again, God is good all the time. And lead with love with all you do. Thank you for tuning in to Ya Tu Sabes Radio. We'll see everybody next week. Ya Tu Sabes.
Break it off.